My name is Arvinda. I'm part of Johnson & Johnson, based out of New Jersey. I lead the global development team. We are responsible for UX and advanced technologies. Um, Everybody in this room pretty much familiarized with the Neptune UX platform, and you might have developed tons of apps already and deployed in your organization connected with SAP primarily. So what we're going to talk now is what else is out there, and how, unlike you, J&J also have tons of other systems in our landscape, not just in SAP. So how Planet 9 we are going to use to solve all our digital problems and needs. So quick agenda. So I'm going to quickly talk a few minutes about Johnson & Johnson, who we are, um, and also our data experience vision. And also we have digital transformation key pillars, which we are going to work in the next few years or so. Um, and also the roadmap, where we started a couple of years back, where we are now, where we are heading, um, and also the need of low-code platform. And also I'm going to share a little bit about the architecture patterns, what we are using in Johnson & Johnson. So it might also help you to win some discussions with your architectural group. About us, we are a group of companies, 300 or more. We are primarily into three different sectors: pharmaceuticals, medical devices, and the most famous J&J baby products. So I hope every one of you might use our products in your lifetime for sure. So please continue to do that. So okay, a little bit about us. So we are 130 plus years of history. I am 8 years old to J&J, and we are 132,000 employees in strength, $72 billion revenue, and we presence in more than 175 countries. Through J&J, I already traveled almost 25, 30 countries. So there's a lot of to learn from the J&J. Okay, so if you look at the top, that's our CIO vision of where we wanted to be in 2008. As a Johnson & Johnson, we target to move 85% of our applications into the cloud, which is a pretty big number, considering we have the biggest SAN in the world, thousands and thousands of servers, uh, uh, where we used to use these servers to deploy each apps individually and manage them. So to help us with the carbon footprint and also echo with what the whole cloud. So we wanted to be moving to cloud every single application which we are going to deploy going forward. We also embarked on a journey of a data transformation. So we already found out that we have over 100 terabytes of data sitting in ERPs of the world, which is an SAP. We also have a JD Edwards. We have the old AS400. We have a lot of manufacturing systems. With the IoT comes in, so you do expect getting a lot of data into your organization. So we actually started our journey into combining all this data into a one central in-memory database. Um, and now once we have the data available, the next step would be how do you access this data? Your data access points are way different going forward. It's no more just a mobiles. You will have an AR, VR, you will have a Google, Apple Watches. You also have the voice application, something like an Alexa or Google Voice. So the needs gone much bigger than ever before. And how do we support such user experiences? So these are our supply chain digital transformation key pillars we have been identified. The very last one we already started solving in the last 5 years or so, which is the UX in mobility. I think we got pretty good handle on that. This year we started blockchain. How many of you actually start doing something on blockchain? Okay. So blockchain is, if you look at the future, probably blockchain will be there in every company one day, solving certain trust related issue problems. So you would see a lot of activity going on in blockchain for building the D apps and so on and so forth. AR again, augmented reality, VR, virtual reality, everybody might be doing already in your manufacturing plants, in your training, etc. So how do we use our digital platform to do the AR, VR apps as well? Bots, so the whole robotic process automation, the bots, which includes chatbots, you might see very well in your organization. We also have humanoid bot, so something like a Now robot. You also have picking bots, collaboration bots. You also have a real robotic process automation bots, and the voice application, and more importantly, Internet of Things. So I'm going to show each one of these applications which we actually built and started deploying using Planet 9. So we worked very hard with Neptune. So thanks to Andrea and team. So I think we built a great product with Planet 9, which we potentially use to solve all these key digital transformation pillars. A little bit about our journey. We started in 2013. That's our SAP portal. How many of you guys are still running SAP portal in your organization? Yeah, as long as GUI stays, you probably see the portal there. But what we did was, back then in 2013, there was no Fiori, there was no mobility tool set available. So we started building our own Fiori Launchpad using our very old SAP portal. We were able to successfully build that and run on tablets, mobiles, and smartphones using responsive techniques. Then we also moved in 2014. We started using custom Fiori to build all our workflow applications, which is pretty painful process. It used to take 6 months or more to bring and enable the workflows onto the mobiles and smartphones because you have to hand code everything. In 2016, we actually we become an enterprise license customer for Neptune. So we transformed our organization. Pretty much every SAP module, we put them onto the mobiles and tablets. So we have over 300 transactions already moved into old Neptune UX platform, which includes inventory management, warehouse management. Last year, we presented the plant maintenance mobile application. We actually built our GRC app. So that is the one of the painful thing. You should give it a try, right? How painful it is to approve the GRC workflows. I get lost sometimes. So we are pretty great success with Neptune UX platform. Then we took an additional step to try out a Planet 9. So Planet 9, if you look at this, it actually solves the entire digital ecosystem. As I explained in the last slide, the blockchain, the voice, IoT, AR, VR, chatbots, and also your analytical applications. Okay, this is a very important slide. I know it's a very busy slide, but if I have to argue why Planet 9 with anybody in your organization who is doing the old school coding, right, using Bitbucket, Jenkins, all kind of a tool set, this slide really helps me to articulate. On the right side, you see the traditional way of developing the things. So you might have a different vendors coming in and developing the apps for you. Each developer brings his own UX tool set. It is completely different from each developer to developer. And also, every app will be hosted typically in its own Node.js or Tomcat kind of a runtime. You would account a lot of hardware costs into that. And also, you never reuse your microservices. Let's say you create a RESTful APIs or web services of the nature, and each developer, he might be rewriting the login authentication API over and over again without knowing each other. So how do we bring all these APIs together so that you can start using those more wisely, and also the higher time and money you have to spend in building these applications, particularly if you are building an AngularJS or React or D3.js, you'd be writing tons of handwritten code, which might not be the same when each developer writes on its own way. So at the end, so now if we talk about the low-code platform, it is the HPAS platform. It runs in the cloud. So we have a freedom of running either in Azure, Amazon, or even in the future Google Cloud. And it is microservices based. You don't have to use any other versioning tool. So it has inbuilt versioning tool. It has the collaborative way of a different developer working on the same application. It's a one code base. It's primarily HTML5, but you also can have freedom of using SAP UI5, also AngularJS and React. So we actually pushed Neptune a lot and asking them why only UI5, because our organization, we have a lot of developers who does the things very differently. So we want to meet everybody needs. Um, and also cloud managed simple deployment and testing. So if you're in an SAP world, your deployment process is pretty strong, right? You have the solution manager, you have a lot of approvals, you have your transport moving in the order. But when you get into any Java based development, so developers logging into production and quality and messing up your things. Even take an example, a couple of years back, even Netflix was down because of one developer made a stupid mistake in doing something. So you shouldn't be in that position when you are supporting the critical business application. And also, last but not least, addressing the vulnerability issue. So if you have an NPM kind of a thing, NPM, anybody in your organization can run an NPM command and bring a virus into your organization, and you will become a victim of um, paying a ransomware, right? So Planet 9, we have a controlled way of managing these libraries. We don't let developers to pick their own language, open source libraries out there, which might also put you in risk if somebody sues your organization for using their proprietary softwares unknowingly. So basically, all these issues, I believe every organization also have to go through it. So what we have here, this is the architecture pattern what we are using. On the left side, you have a different wide variety of users. You have a consumers of the world, you have your own internal users who are probably using desktop, and you have suppliers, buyers, vendors. They would be coming from any channel, right? You cannot limit them to use only iPhone versus iPad versus Android versus any device. So they would be using even VR, AR, right? At the end, what delivers for them is an app, which could be AR, VR app or a decentralized blockchain app or anything of that nature. And what UX platform should give us is all the microservices which take care of your authentication, your authorization, your single sign-on, your mobile app build capabilities. That's what essentially is the Planet 9. And it runs on the powerful Node.js engine. So, and why Node.js? Even the Uber runs on the Node.js. It manages 3 million plus concurrent connections per second. It is proven to be the best runtime out there. So that's where we went ahead with it. It can run on the Kubernetes containers. Hopefully, nobody is running the mining on your Kubernetes. It runs on the cloud. It is an API first platform, meaning everything we connect our backend via APIs, which could be REST or data APIs. If you look at the EDG, that's our data grid. So we are storing 40 plus terabytes of data in there, which comes from your backend ERPs of the Oracle or your Java applications, your Salesforce, which could be anything, right? So at the end, what we get into is our data grid, which is an in-memory data grid, and we get to the UX platform via the RESTful APIs. We also have a machine learning running. So we are not limited to use a machine learning. We have a freedom to use either Azure machine learning or Amazon machine learning, or there are many machine learning tools out there. At the end, what it means to us is in terms of an API. So once you have APIs up and running, you can easily consume into your the DX platform. So I'll talk about the key learnings after I show the demos. So this actually also give you some perspective what we are doing. If you look at the Planet 9, so then it basically translates everything into an app. So what you see on those, we still have a lot of gaps there, which we are going to fill in next couple of years. But what you see is what I'm going to show quickly. So if I have to take you through some demos, hopefully my connectivity is still there. So we are already productized the Planet 9. We have the dev, queue, and production. So since we are a pharmaceutical company, we have to validate our platforms before using with DXP and SOX related controls. So we have done our all validation. So We also actively running 10 plus projects right now on Planet 9. So far it works great. I know we bother at least 20 people keep calling Olandre every single day for fixing our bugs and issues. I'll start with the very first application, which is a chatbot. So people don't want to talk to people anymore, right? Either they talk to their phones or somebody other than humans. So uh, because they're scared to go to the people, they think that you might not know anything. So that's why people love to talk to the bots going forward. So we have enabled a simple bot, which is Eva bot. So behind it is it is using the Amazon Lex and Poly. So it is going to be a mobile app. So once this is initially developed in Planet 9, then it become a hybrid app on the smartphones and tablet. So if I say Eva, hi, it's supposed to respond me back. Okay. And it also asking me, okay, what kind of questions I can ask. Let's give it a try. Okay. So if you look at this, all this question and answer, simple FAQs, everything can be botified, right? And we also enable the voice. What is CDT stands for? Okay, so it works. So both chatbot and voice, so they are integrated together. So everything is running on the Planet 9, as you can see, which is our sandbox. But that's our first chatbot application in Planet 9. Yes. Great question, though. So, okay. So the next application, what we're going to show is an IoT application. It's our industrial Internet of Application, which is actually live application. It's actually deployed in Europe. It's connected to our real machine, which is the dipping lines. What you see right, there are two dipping lines. It is online both, and this is the work order which they're actually executing right now on the machine. So we get this data every 5 seconds from the PLCs into the cloud and then into the Planet 9 UX UI. If we get into any of these dipping lines, you would see all the parameters from the machine, which is their sensor data. They also have their current values. They have their set points coming up, and also they would see their entire logs. Also, these are the alarms coming out of your PLCs. So it's so important data for them. They would go and take some actions when they see those alarms. So they can go between dipping line 1 and 2. They can also go and check their historical data. So I can go back all the way from April to, let's say, 6. So this is all the parameters they can actually go and select. And then okay. So if you see, look at that, the whole the data, probably this is one of the weekend or downtime. This machine probably stopped working, and then they also have their batch summary data. So end of the day, what we are trying to achieve out of this project is to improve the yield. So because sometimes their yield is very low, they want to know exactly what caused the yield drop down. So by looking and analyzing this real-time sensor data, so they can actually optimize their machine and obviously identify their golden batch along with it. So the next application, so this is where we use high charts. So probably Olandre talked about this. We were debating what charts is suitable for us. We don't have much charting capabilities in UEFI, which are pretty limited. But if you go into any analytical world, we have the D3.js, which is open source. But company like J&J, if something goes down, something not working, we want to make a call to somebody and get it fixed. So that's where we went back and asked Neptune what they can do about charts. they actually added the high charts, which is the rich charts you can use across your IoT applications, analytical applications. What you see is actually all this data is coming from our the OCR bots automation program. So which basically scans label documents and read from the OCR and spit it out into a database table. So the user can go and actually read this data. So if you look at this table, it's pretty rich capabilities of pagination, and then they can actually select them nicely. So the next application is also, if you look at this, compare this with old, I would not say old, but Neptune, which is always the tiles are squared and which looks like an old SAP Fury tile. So we actually done quite a bit of work on beautifying the themes and the style sheets, so it looks completely different now. So what you see here is our end-to-end supply chain visibility and connected metrics. So if you look at this, you would go in to see how your materials are getting transformed between the plants and the DCs and all the way to your market DCs. So this is one of the analytical applications we are building right now. Okay, so we also started using Planet 9 to build our DApps UI, decentralized applications. So we started with Ethereum. So the example of what I'm showing is typically anybody have in supply chain, food and drug. You have the new rule from the FDA that FDA's Supply Chain Drug Act. What does that mean? Anything you share with your partners, which is the wholesalers or dispensers, you should be having one common system for FDA to come and take a look at the data. So blockchain is we believe in, it's going to solve our problem. So what you see here is an Ethereum blockchain based application. So I have my MetaMask plugin installed. So in that I have actually simulated the manufacturer, dispenser, wholesaler. What you would start with is when you are working in a consortium kind of an environment with your partners. So you agree upon your smart contract rules and the business logic, and then you also build a UI for that. Where initially in your network you have to add your partners. Your partner could be any dispenser or wholesaler. So you would add that, and also here you can generate the events. So the events is, okay, if I want to commission my product, or you want to package your product, so you could actually do that, or you can even browse the data from Excel and you can add them. You also can, if you are doing a shipping, so this is what your G10 numbers, you pick your shipping, you pick your G10 code, and then you pick your location. So whom you are transferring, is it a wholesaler or dispenser, and then you could submit it. Typically what happens is when you submit this, it's going to publish this into a blockchain network. In the blockchain world, it is a gas price, gas limit, and you don't have to pay any real ethers. It is our own private blockchain. So you would basically, I would reject for now. So I would show one example. So we stored certain G10 codes into the blockchain network. If I say that, okay, I wanted to see what are all the history for that G10 number, so you would see that. So this product is actually exchanged a few hands from the dispenser to wholesaler and dispensers to, you see the pattern there, how the whole transaction exchanged between the different parties in the blockchain network. So this is the one classic example. You could build a UI for blockchain with the Planet 9. This is another track and trace application where we are currently working on, where you can see that all the assets we are tracking and their locations in a nice map. You would click on any asset, which should take you into the actual asset. You know that entire the path of that asset, and you would see all the conditions along with the asset. So this is the one example where you can actually use so the Planet 9 local database. We use the PostgreSQL. So all these database tables, and you can create them on the fly. You can create a RESTful APIs. So within 5 minutes, I should able to completely build this page on my own. So this is another great example how you can enrich the end user experience. If you are really building a consumer grade end user applications, they don't like our tiles anymore, bored looking tiles. They want something beautiful. A login page should look um, uh, should look good. So it allows you to now customize the way you want your login pages, um, your complete application. This is another example. So they want us to change the tiles in a different way. So if you look at this, I want to give you how much work actually went into the whole. So we actually built 254 applications in the last 3 months, which is a small or big. And we trained almost 200 of our developers in Planet 9. They all are up and running. It's a 2-day session myself and Olander conducted. But those who know already Neptune, so Planet 9 is pretty easy to learn and migrate. We also written a migration tool along with Neptune. So any of your existing Neptune apps with a few clicks can be migrated into the Planet 9. So imagine that you're running off of your SAP server and you're in the cloud. So that's the beauty you get and power to your applications. Thank you.